All right, you heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking at the SCO Summit. We've got a gist, in fact, we got the entirety of what he has said, and the clear ramification is that he has said what he needed to say, and I would say that he has gone one step ahead of that. There was no reason for the Indian Prime Minister to suggest that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization can become a multilateral forum beyond its intended purpose, which was to focus on Central Asia. He has gone and said that the SCO can be a fulcrum, a vehicle to promote multilateralism in the global order, and it's something that India supports. He's spoken about starting a civilizational dialogue framework within the SCO. Fine. He's spoken extensively about the Pahalgam terror attacks and combating terrorism, which is expected and also important. Specifically, he's talked about the Chabahar Port and the north-south corridor. For people's information, the Chabahar Port is located in Iran. It's a port that Indian companies are constructing. The reason for the construction of that port predated the current circumstances. That was at a time when Afghanistan was under had NATO forces in it, and the only land borders into Afghanistan are from Pakistan and from Iran. Afghanistan is a landlocked country. Remember, the Pakistanis are not very keen on Indian aid to Afghanistan going through their territory. So, Indian aid to Afghanistan, including the fact that we built their power lines, we built their parliament, we were providing them food aid, we still are providing them food aid, all of it was to go through Chabahar Port in Iran. This led to the construction of the north-south corridor. So, the road that leads from the Iranian border, Iran-Afghan border all the way to Kabul was also built by India. So, that's the reference to context that he is putting over there. So, a lot of interesting things. The SCO is a forum that was constructed by the Chinese along with the Russians, who considered Central Asia their sphere of influence. India has economic energy interests in Central Asia. Our problem is that we had a border with Central Asia, we had a border with Tajikistan and Afghanistan, but that border was occupied by the Pakistanis and they haven't given it back. So, either we take it back and then we have a direct land link into this Central Asian region, or we have to then establish trade through other means. So, this is the context of what is going on. This is what has been said. Let me quickly get Ambassador Goel, whom I interrupted as we got this the telecast of the PM speech. Ambassador Goel, I'm hoping you had a chance to at least listen into part or hear part of what he has said. Some of it is pro forma, but an effort is being made to push India's position. So, we are not talking about the BRI, we are talking about the north-south corridor, but we are also suggesting that the SCO does have a place in the multilateral fora of the world.
Absolutely, Rishabh. I think it was a good speech. Unfortunately, because of connectivity and the static on the line, I could only understand part of it. But from what I understand and from the summary that you have given to us of the panel, it's rather interesting. And in fact, I think you have captured the two important points made by Prime Minister in his speech, which are really to not limit Shanghai Cooperation Organization to its earlier objective as a kind of a Central Asian organization. It started as a mechanism to resolve territorial issues between China and the Central Asian states, which was actually a legacy problem since the dissolution of Soviet Union, etc., etc., etc. And then the focus became really security and counter-terrorism. So when Prime Minister Modi mentioned making it really beyond that, as you said, it's clearly seeking a role for India in SCO beyond Eurasia.
I can't hear anything.
And number two, importantly enough,
yeah, carry on, sir.
No. I was just thinking of something else which has just gone out of my mind. But beyond this, really speaking, from the discussion that we were having before, I want to come to one very central point. Prime Minister Modi is attaching considerable importance to SCO now because it is very clear that our earlier approach of hitching our wagon to the USA in the geopolitical terms, even without becoming aligned to the USA, has its own perils. And that depends upon who the president is, because the president, with his executive powers, can rock the boat or can basically uh, go along to create further opportunities for its own friends and allies. President Trump has chosen to rock the boat. Now, I know everybody has said strategic ties are important, they will revert, etc., etc., etc. We have 3.5 more years for President Trump to go, who is highly volatile, highly tempestuous, uh, uh, very moody, and there is no predictability at all about the decisions that he takes. If we knew what his policies are, what the way he thinks, yes, we will. The only way we know is that we never know which actually might make him happy or which might actually make him upset. Therefore, 3.5 hours is a very important period for us. India is growing. The GDP growth rate is 7.8% this quarter, 6.5% average. And we look at ourselves with a destiny as an important power economically, politically, strategically, globally, not just Asia, but globally. And we find there are challenges in the way. We need to meet those challenges. First challenge has come in terms of President Trump's the way he looks at India, and it is not just tariff. The way he has begun to hyphenate India and Pakistan. Please remember that Ambassador Goel, who is coming to India, or who has been nominated to come to India, I don't think that we have already given the agreement for that name so far, but who has been nominated. He is also the ambassador for South Asia. You remember Richard Holbrooke, what happened, how he reacted to his appointment as ambassador for India and Pakistan? I don't think we are going to work in those kind of silos. It's going to create problem for us. And President Trump has a certain way of looking at India, which is not very comfortable for us. And therefore, we are looking for other opportunities. And those opportunities we find in the region, elsewhere, Africa, Global South, etc., G20, BRICS, even if the de-dollarization
Yes.
is kind of a fear that President Trump has, I don't think we talk about the de-dollarization. The point really here is that when China is the dragon in the room, and we know that we have issues with China, we know, and as was said earlier, having a China-centric world, China as the hub of the world, again creates problem for us. But what is possible to do really is that in the meantime, when we come to a situation of that kind, we need markets. We need some economic diversities. And the markets for us are either domestic market, Europe, Africa, and China becomes a kind of support for us in terms of that economic policy. Nothing is permanent in this world. No friends, no enemies, but we need to find
Okay.
avenues, we need to find solutions.